Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and this is another paid request, this time from Vonte, who wanted my thoughts on the episode of Batman the Animated Series called Harley and Ivy. Now, this is an episode where Harley Quinn is with the Joker. They're being chased by Batman, and of course Joker's being an asshole, talking so much shit to Harley Quinn. Give me that gun. It's the bang gun. It's a fake gun. What the hell are you doing? Give me this. What the fuck you doing, bitch? Yeah, I'm tall like that, but in his head he did. They get away, but then he gets more and more pissed at Harley Quinn. What, you presume to tell me what I should think is funny? Throws her ass out. She doesn't know what the fuck to do. Fine, fuck, I'm gonna work alone. Tries to steal a diamond. Poison Ivy's at the same place. They both get out of there. They both decide to team up and become gal pals. Now, for what I understand, later on, I guess in the comics or in a new cartoon, they're a couple. I mean, unless it's a porn film, I don't give a fuck, but... No, I'm just kidding. But not really. But, it was interesting to see the two work together. The two almost become friends. She doesn't know her name at first, so she calls her Poison Oaky instead of Poison Ivy. And pretty much Poison Ivy keeps telling her, why are you with this guy who treats you like a doormat? Why are you with this guy who doesn't give a shit about you? Trying to wake her up, and she doesn't. Oh, my foot is a little rough sometimes. In a weird way, these little pieces of dialogue tell more about Harley Quinn's psyche than the fucking 2 hours of Birds of Prey, the movie with Harley Quinn, which I didn't care for. Why is it that a 20-minute episode, just from a few lines, of Poison Ivy trying to talk sense into her, trying to talk her into realizing that Joker treats her like shit, and she just doesn't get it, because she's too attached to the Joker. Again, that's sad that got more into the psyche of Harley Quinn than a fucking Birds of Prey. And Poison Ivy, at least the way she is, because I didn't like her episode by herself where we first saw her. She was more interesting in this episode than the previous one I saw. I forget what it was called. It was her introduction to this cartoon. But this kind of would say is one of my least favorite episodes of the ones I've seen. But again, her interaction with Harley Quinn made her a bit more of an interesting character to me. Some guys are, of course, talking shit to him. You're so hot, which I agree. What you gonna do, spank us? And Harley Quinn's like, yeah, that's right, and pulls out a fucking rocket launcher, blows shit out of their car. Batman's not in the episode too much. He's at the very beginning, chasing Joker and Harley Quinn. Then he comes in about midway through, finds where those two are at. They try to dump him into what looks like toxic waste. I try to remember how the fuck Batman survives. I don't remember because it's like literal toxic waste. And Harley Quinn had to get a shot earlier to survive. I forget how Batman isn't dead. Maybe he had a shot as well. I can't remember. Because they dumped it right through the water. You think he'd be fucking dead. The third act is Joker finds out where they're at and a bit of a battle happens. Nice animation. Joker firing the Tommy gun. The whole fucking place explodes. So you get this inferno that just... That was a really nice piece of animation. The voice acting on Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn worked well in this episode. This must have been the start of why later on, I forget if it was in the comic books, or I think there's maybe a new cartoon and they're an item. I'm like, okay. If it suits them, it suits them. Whatever. The thing with the Birds of Prey movie, one of the reasons I didn't like that film, I felt like it was a wannabe Deadpool. I almost said Daredevil. It was a wannabe Deadpool. Why I say that is because I looked at the plot of Birds of Prey and I see if you took the two plots of Deadpool 1 and 2 combined, if you put both of those movies together, you get Birds of Prey. Because you have telling a story a bit out of order, like the first Deadpool, where you're doing this and it's a flashback, it's going around timeline. And then you take the plot of Deadpool 2, where you have your lead taking care of this younger person who's kind of being shuffled around, and then coming up with a team. Instead of X-Force, it's the Birds of Prey. And the Birds of Prey I didn't find interesting. They're barely part of the film for a film fucking called Birds of Prey. Here, at least, it didn't take too long before Poison Ivy was introduced, and they're back and forth. I think with Poison Ivy trying to get her to stand on her own 2 feet. There was more of a dynamic there in this 20-minute episode than, again, the 2 hours of Birds of Prey. Like, Birds of Prey felt, let's try to be cool, and do you remember Deadpool? And do you in particular remember Deadpool 2? I'm like, well, I'd just rather watch Deadpool 1 and 2 than this. And at least Harley, I like her costume better here with the actual Harley Quinn costume. I think that's a better costume for her. Like in the new movies and Suicide Squad, she looks like a skank or a hippie. Like if a skank and a hippie fucked, and this was the product, clothes-wise, she looks like wannabe tank girl. I don't know how to describe her costume. It just street trash, street clothes. I don't know. Homeless, stink mixed in with homeless, mixed in with tank girl. I don't know. I prefer her costume in the cartoon here. With the face paint and they said the Harley Quinn, hence her name. Harlequin. Which you saw, I think, did one little bit in Suicide Squad. Like a little fantasy scene she had. I'm like, she looked better costume-wise in that than the fuck she wears here. Maybe that's her new look, and that's why, I don't know. But I'm going off tangent. Joker, Mark Hamill, always nice to see him in there. Mark Hamill really embellishes, not the right word, but really eats up the role as Joker. He commits to the role, having fun with the role. Like I said, nowadays, I think there's some people that know Mark Hamill more for Joker than they do for Luke Skywalker. Listen, Batman doesn't have a lot to do, but he just has some nice moments at the end, fighting these 2 thugs and taking Joker in. And overall, went at a fast pace. Started off with a nice little car chase, establishing the character relationship between Joker and Harley, and how he treats her like shit. Just how that word toxic to be used, but it fits here. Like, that's a toxic relationship. That's toxic. But that's a word they just use too much nowadays. Like, on a different platform, people use cheesy too much. Now they use toxic too much as well. And yeah, like I said, the few bits of dialogue Poison Ivy tells her gives more sighty logistics into Harley Quinn than again the whole fucking 2 hours. Because that's part of Harley Quinn, is that whole mentality of she's put up with Joker, even though of all the horrible shit he did to her, she still puts up with them. And even in this, she gonna stand on her own, but she's not as deep in that. And it's that weird, tragic form of Harley. That there's a part of you that hopes she will overcome it someday. That type of mentality. So it gives her a possible arc in the future to overcome. Which there's really none of that in Birds of Prey. So it makes the character even less interesting. She's less interesting to look at. And Margot Robbie's a pretty lady. I'm just being costume-wise. And she's less interesting of a character because of that. And that's just my 2 cents on it. But yeah, Harley and Ivy, liked it for what it was. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.